Hi everyone, hope you're doing well from wherever you're watching this channel, depending on your time zone. Now, yesterday, there were several members of parliament on the floor of the House condemning BBC Africa for releasing a documentary that exposes the government and the bloody parliament. There is one man, Kiarie, who came out gang blazing to attack BBC Africa. In fact, in his attack, he believed that the UK still want to continue ruling this country, and therefore they have to paint it in a bad mood. There is something I want to tell you about Kiarie. But before I say that, it is good you listen to him. And at the end of this video, you are going to learn that we are dealing with a fool, in my view.
And we understand, Mr. Speaker, even in media, that the BBC is funded by taxpayers' money in Britain, meaning that BBC is funded to push the foreign agenda of the British people internationally, Mr. Speaker. And so we must know, is BBC speaking as a mouthpiece of the government and the people of Britain? Or what is it that the BBC is doing? Could it be an attempt to untwist this country so that they can rescind on the rider that we put on their training of the Batuk units in Kenya, Mr. Speaker, and perpetuate a history of extractive economy, oppressive economy, and exploitative economy in a very unfair trade balance between Kenya and the UK. Mr. Speaker, even as we debate this matter, it is not lost to us that yes, there were unfavorable events that took place in the time and the lead up to the finance bill.
Now, I used to say that when you hear most of these members of parliament coming out to defend the government even when it is wrong, just know these people have committed a crime somewhere that they are trying to cover up. Clean member of parliament and even governors who uses the money at their disposal responsibly. They have nothing to fear, they have nothing to worry, and they will face government and tell it the truth. Most of members of parliament who keep on defending government when it is wrong, just know there is something they are hiding from the public. There is something that is pushing them to do what they are doing. Why am I saying so? Kiarie is a member of parliament who was not even embarrassed to erect a 5 million tent to preside over the issuance of a bursary check worth, listen to this, 3 million Kenyan shillings. This was at Kinyanjui Technical and Training Institute. Indeed, this was glaring misuse of public resources. The optic of spending more than, spending more money on a ceremonial tent than the issuance of bursary itself. In my view, it is a direct insult to the local communities that this guy is leading. Ukisikia kipayuka, angejibu swali, kwa nini unaweka tent ya milioni 5 kupeana bursary ya milioni 3? Siyo ni wenda wazimu. This is foolishness. It's madness. There was no need of this tent. Mbona usiweke tent ya 100,000, hata si 100 ya 50,000. Weka tent ya 50,000 kama uko na watu wengi. Alafu peana hiyo. Imagine if you had that 5 million, then upeana kwa watu 15,000, 3,300. Kumesaidia watu wengi. But look on how he spent. Alafu nasema tuko na wabunge. Ndio maana akili yake inafikiria kusema vile anasema ndiye asimulikwe na serikali na mengine mengi tu. But I want to thank Minnie Odhiambo. She stood her ground and she was soberly in her discussion as far as BBC expose on bloody parliament is concerned. At least we have people with brains in this parliament.
Yes, Millie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank Honorable KJ for urging that we speak soberly about this issue. And Mr. Speaker, I wish to speak soberly about this issue. And sometimes when you're in leadership, you have to take the road less traveled. And on this issue, I want to take the path less traveled. Mr. Speaker, we lost many young people. And we have very many young people who are traumatized as a consequence of what happened. Mr. Speaker, it is a point in our country that all of us wish never happened, but it happened. Mr. Speaker, I think we have not handled this issue well, and that is why sometimes you find people from outside are coming to document this. If as Kenya, we were able to acknowledge that things went wrong, and we need to fix it, then Mr. Speaker, even if BBC aired it, it doesn't matter. We have to fix our own problems on our own. We don't have to wait for BBC to tell us there was something wrong. I have a problem with the title that they've given, but which is typical of any media house because they want it to trend and then want it to, yeah. And because of that, Mr. Speaker, they may have given it that title. But Mr. Speaker, we have not yet dealt with some of the issues. We have dealt with some, but one of the issues we have not dealt with is the trauma. Mr. Speaker, I said it when Honorable Elachi lost the son. Mr. Speaker, we have a very angry young generation in this country. And part of the anger is on the issues that we are seeing, Mr. Speaker. And we cannot bury our heads in the sand, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let Parliament take the lead. And let us find a way of helping these young people to heal. Because, Mr. Speaker, we don't know what may come in the next few months, next year, or whatever. And furthered by the fact that we have very many young people who are jobless, who are frustrated. And if these people, I don't know what their intention is. Their intention could be fuel more harm and whatever. I don't know what their intention is. But from the young people that have spoken, it has actually created more anger. We are taking them back to the path that they would rather not walk again. But they are walking it. And we don't know at what point somebody else will fuel it again. You can't stop the media. Somebody else will fuel that anger again. And so for us to deal with it, let this Parliament take that mandate to deal. When we had post-election violence, Mr. Speaker, I was lucky to be in this Parliament. I think we were with you in that Parliament. Mr. Speaker, we set up a select committee. We walked all over this country. And because as human beings, we have a nature to forget. When we thought we had moved on, I remember in one case, we met a woman whose husband's head had been decapitated. She went to her home with the husband's head. And we are dealing with people who are angry, people who are depressed. And going there, Mr. Speaker, I remember today when I was speaking in Parliament, I broke down and cried. Not because of me, but because of what we had. And we think we are moving on, but there are many young people who have not necessarily moved on. Mr. Speaker, personally, I would appeal, and I don't want to sit in that committee, but I would appeal that we set up a select committee to deal with this issue that stemmed not necessarily the finance bill, but the after effect of that finance bill. Mr. Speaker, I humbly agree that we deal with this soberly, and I'd want to discourage us from going through a process which we think may be politically correct, but does not necessarily move us forward as a country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Beatrice, can I ask?
Now, I don't know your views up to there, but let us meet in the comment section to continue with this discussion. Otherwise, it is clear, you can understand when you hear these people making noise, you understand why they're doing so. IPOA was there, did not do any investigation. DCI, funded by taxpayers, did nothing about it. But when an international media does the work, they don't see the positive part of it. They only see the negative side of being exposed. Let us meet in the comment section to continue with our discussion. Thank you so much, and see you in our next video.